Yeah, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Make some noise if you can hear me at the back. 1, 2, all right. Make some noise if you can hear my brother David on the keys. 1 more. All right. We're going to get started. Time is of the essence. Welcome to the Psalmists Poetry Pop-Up, the second annual Pop-Up. Make some noise if you were in the room last year. Yeah, all right. So you know what you're in for. The Psalmist is a collective of poets writing hope into the margins. By that I mean we have realized that poetry has had the power to change our own lives, give us a compass for the interior terrain, and now we want to take that to people in parts of society where poetry would be perceived as a luxury. In prisons, for example, and redefine poetry rather than a luxury as a lifeline that takes us back to ourselves, and more importantly, a lifeline that leads us to God. And so tonight is a celebration of poetry and poets that have paid for expensive words and now are deciding to offer them to you for free. And so all the words that are shared tonight have been paid for in full. They come at a great cost, and so they require a level of attention and celebration. And if you've been to a poetry night before, you know how to respond if you hear something that you resonate with. The reason we don't clap is because we don't want to miss one of the words that are being said. So we have a lot of poets. We have an hour, right? We've got 1 hour, and I have put together the Avengers of poets from this country and others that I think are some of the greatest living wordsmiths. And so we're going to move through quite a lot of people, and it means that there's going to be a lot said, and it's going to be overwhelming at times, and you're just going to have to kind of get ready for the next one. And so I would have a notepad or on your phone and just make a note of a name or make a note of like a phrase that feels like, oh, I need to come back to that, because before you know it, there's going to be another poet up here. We'll keep the applauses going, we'll keep the energy in the room, and we're going to have an amazing time. In the Psalms, some of the Psalms begin with, to the choirmaster. And so as psalmists, when we get up here, we might turn to David and say, to the choirmaster, and give him a couple of little instructions of how to support the piece that we're doing. So one more time for David, who's going to be playing. And if you want to follow the work of the psalmist, writing hope into the margin and just amplifying the modern psalmist, you can go to www.thepsalmist.org or follow us on Instagram @thepsalmist_. There we go. All right, let's get started. My name is Joshua Luke Smith, and I'm going to kick us off with a poem that is still slightly wet with ink in my journal, but I felt like this is the one to share for tonight. And bro, I would say a brooding hopefulness. Actually, bro, let's start with silence. Just bring it in when you feel out of time as well. She asked me if I could spend time with anyone, dead or alive, and look into their eyes and ask them about their life, who would it be? And I answered instantly. I said my great-grandfather, William Greengrass, whom my mother affectionately called Bappy. He was a soldier, a civil servant, an artist whose work not only adorned the walls of our homes, but also the many hardships that he suffered. Are men of questions that I would ask him about the world that he uncovered. I would look upon his now fragile frame, frail with age, and yet still see that photograph I held in my hand as a boy, with his high cheekbones, his James Dean smile, and those shoulders as strong as Troy. I would ask him about the day his first wife grew sick. They called it Spanish flu. Like great-grandfather, what did you do when you saw the life taking flight from her body? Did you tend to her sweating skin with cold cloths? Were you scrambling for hope? Did you cry out to God as she coughed? Did you haggle with death? Did you call on her to gather every morsel of strength she had left? Did you pray just to spend one more moment together as young husband and young wife? Did you press your head against her breast and listen to her labored breaths begin to fail? Did you watch her young life pass through the veil like that one you had so recently lifted? I'd ask him, how did you keep living when grief wrapped her arms around the morning sun and eclipsed it? I would ask him, how did you keep forgiving yourself, forgiving your father, forgiving your God, for all the scars and the injustice that your young life had to witness. And I would ask him from where he found the courage to allow his calloused, sorrow-soaked skin to soften once again for marriage. How did you love again? How did you build a home made out of timber when you had seen firsthand how a fire can turn a forest down into cinder? And I would ask him, what elation, what tidal wave of mercy baptized you when you heard that she was carrying your child inside her? What future began to bloom like wildflowers within the tomb of your sorrow? What hallelujah rang out from your parched lips as you let yourself consider a tomorrow that you thought was lost? And when did you know that the moans of labor were turning into the groans of great danger? Great-grandfather, when did you know that no one could save her? They said that you cried out like a madman in the street for a doctor, a midwife, or a neighbor, but no one answered. They say that you lay on the bathroom floor like a soldier at war, holding your wife and your unborn child as if they had been both struck down by the sword. So great-grandfather, how dare you keep living? How dare you choose life when you had every right to give it? And the only reason I'm speaking now to all of these people is because somehow you had a vision of your children's children. And yet it wasn't long until the blissful silence was broken by blitz and sirens and you were miles from home. They say the trenches turn atheists into Christians because when you have seen hell on earth, you can't help but pray that there's a God that listens. They reported that you were dead after that bullet ripped apart your leg, and perhaps you were. Perhaps as you lay in no man's lands for days, you begged that God would bless you to leave, not returning to London but to greener shores, where you might be reunited with your beloved and the child she so nearly bore. Great-grandfather, what did you say to death as she crept up to your lifeless body, shivering and screaming? How did she not seduce you into dying? And why did you keep living when life could be little more than surviving? And yet, great-grandfather, you came home from that war and you began thriving. You started making and creating and chasing down the life that had been taken from you 1,000 times over. You married Nana, and they told me that Nana washed the cloth over your wooden stump, a rugged sock every day that was covered in blood. You never took a step without forgetting the shadow of death that took everything from you but your breath. And then, like your wooden leg wedged into place, you started carving into wood, drowning the valleys in ink and paint. You were a war hero, a widower, a sculptor, a maker. You worked with your own pain like paper. So what would you have to say to your great-grandson all these years later? I hear your voice softer than water, speaking to me, yes, but speaking to all these sons and daughters. And I hear you, like God speaking to Job, tell us all that we have hope. And somehow I believe you. Like that word has been paid for, though it bankrupted and bereaved you. Because every morning when I wake, I see the art you painstakingly painted upon a page, and it meets me and speaks to me of grace. You tell me hope is found in how we suffer. And our lives matter more than we can ever imagine, fathom, or utter. You say, yes, there is a war greater than the one within the Iliad, but for every wounded soul, there is a balm in Gilead. You tell me to keep living because beyond these shadow lands there is a world that though hidden is bursting forth. So ask for vision that you would see it, for it is written, behold, I'm making all things new. And if that's true, why would we give it? Why would we settle and let the sun set upon our land before we've given everything we have? So here are my broken hands, my callous heart. I want to follow in your path. I want to take these broken shards and watch the light pass through like stained glass windows, telling the stories of the good and the beautiful and the true. Great-grandfather, after all these years, we're still speaking about you. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Mide.
Good evening, everyone. The first one, give me a weary heart, and I think I'll do the second one like a brother. So yeah. My heart has grown weary from the burdens within, and my eyes heavy from all the things that I have seen. My body is a shell of what it used to be, weakened by the weight of sorrows that feel handcrafted for me. There is grief where joy used to grow. And I have tried countless times to prune and pluck, but Lord, I am stuck. Between trying to catch my breath and trying to keep up. I'm back at that place again where nothing seems to make sense. It's like I've tried again. I've got back up again. I've prayed a prayer again, yet here I am back again. I've lost my faith again. I've been through the mud again. I've dusted myself off and tried my best to run my race again, but here I am back again. I'm struggling to pray again. Don't recognize myself again. I feel like I'm walking in the dark and someone's hid the light from me again. Lord, help me see again. Rest doesn't feel like rest. I need your peace again. I've tried, Lord, but I am tired. Tell me there is solace for me still. That beyond the tears I have cried is a soft landing for every trying and turbulent time. Where is the promise of peace? Where is the promise of hope in the moments I struggle to see? Where is the resting place for my weary head when I have reached the end of me? Lord, I have reached the end of me. So I'm here, on bended knees and arms raised high, crying out, Abba Father, will you come to the aid of your daughter? Show me that comfort is never far from a sorrowful heart. And that when I raise a cry in prayer, your ear is never too far to hear the melodies of my grief. Show me that there is no brokenness you can't restore, and no joy you can't return. Show me that no tear is too burdensome, no hope too far-fetched, and no worry too heavy that your grace cannot bear. Because most times I know it in my head, but my heart doesn't always understand. That you are still good on my worst days, no matter how many of them seem to come around. Because I haven't lost my voice, but I have forgotten how to sing. The songs don't sound the same when they are coated in shame. And I will myself every day to try again. But a day without your help is a day lived in vain. And Lord, I want to sing again. I want to rise with a morning song of how I know your presence beside me even after my worst days are gone. So restore to me, Lord, the joy of my salvation. Guide my eyes towards the hills to see you, my help. Lead me beside the still waters, O my Prince of Peace. Lend your ear to me. Don't be far from me. Still the chaos inside me. Remind me that despite my brokenness and my despair, my troubled soul and tears that have run out of places to go, that there is still a song inside of me to sing.
Come on.
I'll do this one after that. I have held on for as long as I could. Tied hope around my wrist so I could watch the tide change. I have been patient with hope, grown angry with hope. Like how long, oh Lord, must I wait until I see the break of day? Like how long until I can breathe with ease again? Like how long until hoping is just holding on for nothing? But I know hope is all I have. When my feet fail and I can't muster up the strength to walk, let alone run, I am reminded that hope is built for days like these when tomorrow seems bleak. And you've used everything in your arsenal to convince yourself you're not weak. And you've tried everything in your power to stand when life is taking you out of the knees. But just like love, I am convinced that you can't hurry hope. So when all roads point to giving up and the easiest option seems like letting go, hold on. We have sailed rockier seas than these and made it safety to shore, hold on. We have seen what it means to live when life has given you every reason not to hold on. We have seen how the trees withstand the seasons, though their leaves may fall. They stand rooted knowing that seasons change. Trust in spring to show its face again. I promise. Spring will show its face again. So I am doing the only thing I know how to do and holding out on hope, reminding hope to keep its word. That I have been patient through the seasons and I have wintered long enough. I have crawled and walked and ran just to stand where I am. I have failed multiple times and somehow I have not lost heart. So I am here with open arms begging hope to play its part. Remember my name. Don't abandon me when I need you the most. Help me to hold on when the tide comes in and the cold wind blows. Help me to cast my eyes beyond the things that I can see, knowing it's not over till it's over and this last breath leaves. Hope still has plans for you. Hope still has plans for me too. So hold on.
I met someone new at church and they asked me what I did for work. I said, I'm a pastor and I'm a carpenter too. They said, that's giving Jesus. I said, I guess so. They said, what do you build? And I said, I build homes. And then I could feel the conversation coming to a close. But there was so much more that I wanted them to know. Like how on the weekends I read poetry and go to the cinema alone. But that I really hate that when I wake, I still reach for my phone. I would have told them how I'm a sucker for a scented candle and a little bit of personal space. And that I was raised to scrape my plate and not leave any waste, and that maybe that's the reason I'm so afraid to make mistakes. And if they had asked, I would have told them about the best coffee shop in Bath, and how if you give me a flat white, I'll face the wrath of any day. But for some reason when the sunlight fades, I still get this feeling that my life is an assignment awaiting the grade. I can't shake this feeling that I'm late. My youth group say that I'm too grown to play games. But I wish that they could see how I play top trumps in my brain, and I pitch my giftedness against the rating on others' fame. And if they had stayed the course and they wanted to know my goals, I would have told them 3. Number 1, I want to sit at the table and eat. Less takeaways and more time to feast. Number 2, I'm trying to arrange my days so that I come face to face with God. Number 3, I'm just trying to believe that God feels about me the way that I feel about my daughter. But that's all by the by. We'll chat another time when we've got the space of mind. I know that life can be many things all at the same time. Thank you. There's a lot of weather chat in this country, and this poem's called Don't Check the Weather. You can toil in the soil and plant your seeds with diligence, but you can't make it rain. And you can curse the clouds and point your crops perfectly south, but you can't make the sun shine. So tend to your garden in peace. Smile with all your teeth as you pull out weeds, because you can't control the weather or the fruit that falls from your tree. So write your poem and let it be. Take your boat to the ocean and open your sails, but don't wait for the rain before you plant wheat. Dance like David, regardless of who is up watching. Sing your song like it matters before anyone tells you that it does. Wear your frock before it's fashionable. Love the stranger you meet in Tesco's. You are not a weatherman, so give up predicting what will take off. Look no further for validation. Surrender your harvest and you'll be free. Dare to be here in every season. Let the wind blow and the sun beat with all her heat. Just look up and be amazed. Treat each day like it's sacred. Don't check the weather. Make some noise for Jasmin
Leah. I'm going to warm up with a short poem. It's about sex. It's called Is It Casual? It's not wrong, it's unromantic to rent hearts like abandoned apartments. It's not immoral, it's delusional to live in a tent and call it a palace. The best he can offer, I love you for now, but not forever. Me, expected to swoon at costume jewelry when I am Neptune, a whole sky of diamonds. I'm not repressed, I'm unimpressed. How much can I allow myself to feel with a stranger, throwing my body into him while protecting my soul against him? It's not free love, it's a lifetime of debt paid to lust. They stuff me full of pleasure and leave me starving for intimacy. It's not wrong, it's just not enough truth. This is called Can I Have You for a Little While, and it's in response to the passage where Mary anoints Jesus' feet with oil, which we all know is an extremely expensive gesture, and specifically in response to what Judas says. He says that was a waste, and the Bible also said he was stealing money from the tithe, so it's kind of like projection at its finest. Like, that's a waste, but also he's stealing money from the tithe, and he's like, you should have given that money to the poor. And Jesus' response is so fascinating. He says, the poor you will have with you always, but me you only have a little while. So this poem is called, Can I Have You for a Little While? Love says, can I have you for a little while? In religion, as in love, we ask, is it fair? But no one in love is concerned with fairness. When the alabaster cracked and Judas said, what a waste, I wondered, was friendship wasted on Judas? What did Jesus see in him? Was it greatness? Or did he offer intimacy like a rope to a man drowning in proximity to righteousness? Inches away from glory in hell, Judas, the man who would betray Christ with a kiss, like so many of us, let down by the ones who let in. I wonder, is love ever wasted? By a child whose mother grows to hate her, by a father who visits his son in prison, by saints who dignify the weak and diseased, you tell me, do they waste their love on people? Do I waste my love on God? When it's obvious religion is a failed project, scripture gets misrepresented, boys get molested by priests who preach to people who don't do what they say they believe, while others spend their last dime anointing the dirtiest parts of Christ's body, and in his eyes, both are worth his life. The Pharisee in us cries, what a waste to invest in bad people, bad systems, people who don't recycle, people who don't look or vote like me, people who don't deserve my sympathy. And how many days do I, like them, hide underground, judging harshly the light I cannot see, like Judas trading intimacy for money, eternal wealth for a wink of power? I wonder, does God waste his love on me? Does he lie when he calls me lovely, worth my worst and my best parts, my poverty and my greed, my honesty and deceit? God does not give up on me, even when I give up on him. The way the prostitute spilled oil in the feet of her prophet, the way Hosea let a promiscuous woman call him husband, the way Jesus knew Judas would betray him and just wanted him for a little while. Love says, can I have you for a little while? Love doesn't make sense, and it isn't transactional. Maybe that is why we fall in love with potential but marry reality, like Christ did the church. I can cling to my offense. I can burn down the temple he builds wants for me, but the church is a house held mentally by forgiven souls who stand like immovable stones, like a mansion by the sea. Once you know what it's like to live in grace, you never want to leave. This is a house I need, and maybe you do too. So what do you say? Can I have you for a little while?
Come, let's bring our wisest, our most acclaimed, our most notable, with the most recognizable name, the most knowledge and the most fame, our heroes, innovators, prodigies, so-called geniuses. Let's bring them all. The peak of our humanity, the gods we've made in our own image. How many of them speak to us? How many of them wash our feet? How many of them could cause a thunderstorm to erupt in the sky with nothing but their words? Are wealthy with their palaces, trust funds, and generational wealth. All those who are on the quest to find the fountain of youth. Have they found it? Are they able to defeat death? Can they even put up a fight? Surely God is good to his people, but as for me, my feet had almost slipped until I met my idols. I saw a wicked man who thrived. He flourished. He was evil, but everything he touched turned to gold. He seemed unshakable, and I was envious. But then his reign ended, and when I looked for him, he was nowhere to be found. He was like all the wicked men before him, a vapor that's here today and gone tomorrow. I had almost slipped until I remembered the weak man, the suffering child, the barren woman who called on God and was immortalized by grace. Where is the wise? Where is the strong? Where is the powerful? Where is the beautiful? Where is our betrayer? Where is our accuser? Where is our enemy? Let them come. Let them stand in the courts of the Almighty. Let them go band for band with the one who owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. Let them search their textbooks and see if any know how to command the morning with a painting of sunrise. See if any of them can handle air traffic control for the southern migration of birds. Can our greatest artists draw a constellation worthy of being hung in the sky? Can our most notable composer write a piece good enough for the hummingbirds to sing? Wow. Have our historians found a sense of time? Have our innovators found a scale that can weigh words? Were our doctors there when we were knit in our mother's womb? What about when the world was knit in the womb of God's breath? I had almost slipped until the sovereign one himself lifted me by his right hand. Oh, my soul, look up to the heavens where your help comes from. Oh, my soul, put your trust in God, the Almighty, the maker of heaven and earth, the one who uses the earth as a footstool. Oh, my soul, praise the Lord. Yeah. Thank you. Next one is it's called poema. It comes from the verse that says that we are God's workmanship. The word for workmanship is poema. It's the same root word as the word poetry. And the truth is, everyone in this room is God's poem. It's his poem. We're the production of his concentrated efforts. We're not just like a bag of bones that are robots. You know? So this is called poem. I know God is an artist because of her. Why else would it be so hard to explain what she's like? Not because nothing comes to mind, because too much does. All of it's true, but none of it tells you enough. You could learn about her hometown, where she grew up, her sense of humor, how long it takes her to get ready in the morning. You could read a biography on her life, but that's not it either. She isn't a mere mortal. She is the production, she is the product of an artist's concentrated efforts. There is a world inside of her. Her laugh is an art history class that can't be taught. You just got to hear it for yourself. You want to write like one of the greats? Spend the day with her. Watch how people's faces light up and she doesn't even notice. All of a sudden, you'll scramble to find sentence structure to explain what you just witnessed. You can't explain her family dynamic without Jasmin. How each member plays a form of chaos and somehow she finds herself singing a melody. She is eternal, enchanted by the breath of an artist. I am convinced that there is no better way to meet with God than to watch her, his creative offspring. Some people try and pick out her strengths and flaws, try and find a box to put her in, but that's not the point of art. Time with her turns you from a mere mortal into a side character in a Ray Charles song, to one of Van Gogh's Stars in the Night. Imagine you get to tag along. She came out the room asking me what outfit to choose, as if there's a wrong answer. God is too good of an artist. You could try and put a frame on a masterpiece, but it's no use. It's an impossible task. I chose the denim jacket, but we both know it doesn't matter. Nothing would do her justice. Let's go.
Keep it going for Sophia Loemba.
In a world that tears, I'll build. In a world that muzzles, I'll release. And in a world that dies, I will live. And suddenly the murmurs of my heart became the gold path I walked upon. Words cannot do it justice. My world's changed in 4 days. I can't really explain it because it was completely supernatural and natural all at the same time. It felt natural to come home, though technically it was my parents' home and I hadn't ever visited or stepped foot on her soil. In a way, I felt like I was being handed my inheritance. So much of my family's rage and hospitality, love for our neighbor and sacrifice was shared by many, and my pilgrim brain felt at rest because what I've always known just was. Unspoken rhythms stilled my soul in a way. I guess that's what home is meant to feel like, right? In the same breath, our Father shed his burdens with me and imprinted in me a deeper desperation to see his kingdom come for the poor, the orphan, and the desolate.
That's right.
What I think of him was also challenged. Is he actually worth this much sacrifice? Questions on repeat in my tender heart, translated into words. Is this the call to follow God really worth everything? The answer is yes, yes, yes. The narrow path seemed commonly traveled there. This trip was a dream come true. The Lord made a way for the murmurs of my heart to become the reality I lived in. Our Father, He is my friends. Keep offering up murmurs and see how He turns them into gold-paved streets. Amen.
So, I'm thinking a cappella at the start, and then kind of like a candlelight in kind of Santorini kind of vibe. Do you guys know Leonard Cohen, Hallelujah? Alright, we're not actually going to sing, we're just going to hum it together, is that right? See, I've been trying on these questions. Maybe that's the order of the world. How the oyster opens asking, what will you do with all these pearls? I wear my doubts as if they're glasses, carry them across my nose. I went searching for my elders and all I found was podcast bros. And now I'm in a Costa Coffee asking baristas what's the code, because I drank too many of these certainties inside a boycott of bottled Coke. I came back from all the marches holding my flag up in the streets and ignored the homeless man begging by the river, by the sea. I'm so angry at something, I can't put my finger on quite who. So I stay angry at the train delays as I sit and scroll the news. I've never understood things, and maybe that's why I misunderstand. All these bishops debating marriage while retweeting Russell Brand. I don't know who hermeneutics, but I know footprints in the sand. So I can't entertain your runways unless love is where you land. I think of Caleb in my coffee. I read his letters in the snow. I wonder if he checks my search history like you're better than this, bro. Am I better than this, though? Do these neon sticks still glow? Life feels like everybody's left and I'm still waiting for the show. But now I'm sat at my family table and they think they're funny teasing. They say there's no money in music, but there's no music in money either. So I fill up all my notepads with all this pencil lead, asking all these psalms just David and his existential dread. Because I saw my mother slowly dying, ungracious and unclean, a colostomy bag strapped to her stomach, begging to be freed. So I don't want no Aesop savior, I want one scruffy and unkept. Not worried about the stains when I bury tears inside his chest. But right when a simple word was my request, he went silent. I felt ashamed to double text. Was any of it real or something brainwashed in my head? And now I'm on the top deck of a bus going from Harlesden to Kensal Green as I see a Hindu temple and two boys look like my brother and me. So when their mum dies just like ours did, is their God absent just like mine? Worship songs too painful to sing the words, but I'll still mine. He's never failed me yet. He's never failed me yet. It sure felt like failure, all the memories I didn't get. And now I'm sat opposite a mystic, legs crossed inside his cave, as he tells me that Jehovah and silence are the same. So I've been poking at the emptiness, serving twigs upon the streams, trying to sound out all the vowels and all the space left in between. And there's been times I thought the answers were all inside of me, but now I read the scriptures on both sides of fallen leaves. I've been so focused on this battle, both my eyes upon the soldiers. Were you missing from the fight, or was I sitting on your shoulders? I hear a whisper on the wind. I was with you all along. I had to teach you another language so you could speak your mother tongue. So I wear questions like my glasses. I carry them across my nose. And lately I've been trying to learn a second language. And this is how it goes. Thank you so much.
One more time with Joe Baker. All right, give it all for Jasmin one time, ladies and gentlemen.
Goes out to the death of dreams. The valley of acquainted grief. Good grief, a complex kind of valley. A hollow where echoes go to break. A lowland that forgets the sun. A ravine of memories and ache, a valley they don't map. No signs, no mile markers, no schedules, nah. It comes with its own timeline. It loops and doubles back, then vanishes only to return in a silence too loud to bear. It contains 1,000 rats. Rage, numbness, aching nostalgia. The kind of laughter that always seems to break halfway through. It takes shapes you struggle to name, paints in colors you never choose. Deep violence and rusted reds. Somehow, not at all grey. No, not at it bends in anguish until words fall flat, and all you have left is deep breaths, silent prayers, and tears. See, I tried to speak here, but sentences shattered, so I walked it with bare feet, through shots of soil, bleeding a little now and there, carrying aches like they're mine to keep. Perhaps this valley wants me to feel, not to punish, but to not let me forget that I'm still alive.
Yes.
I'm still alive, but grief only means you're lost. So I keep on walking, each step relinquishing, each step remembering, until you can't go any further. So I sat with it, and allowed my weight to press into this soil, and let the ache be what it's meant to be. Then suddenly, a presence, not loud, not grand, just there, breathing with me now. A shepherd with no sermon in his mouth.
Yeah.
A stillness cradled into his gaze, not with answers, no, but eyes, so these eyes they see. And then suddenly, he takes his shoes off. Hold on. He takes his shoes off to feel it all with me now. Somehow this serves hope. We're not escaping, we're in togetherness. This no man's land kind of valley seems not what I expected it to be. Oh, it's holy ground. It's holy ground. Not because it stopped aching, but because he is acquainted with everything of me, with complex grief, with my humanity, with our humanity. Thank you. This one's called First Tears and Then Perfume. You unafraid one to be asked over for dinner, to dine at the tables of hypocrites. You have been anointed first by tears and then by a pint of perfume. She came with trembling scents, bruises of longing poured into a jar. Oh, salted tears, oh, precious nard. Her conviction spilled without asking. A wrecked offering of her body's memories, her fragility falling to your feet at the wooden threshold of mercy. You man of no rejection, may I learn her conviction, oh, to break without permission, to not flinch as I wet your feet, to be wasteful and to be expensive, to let it cost me and to interrupt you anyways. You man of no reclining, may I bring my true self, to break open my story and not just recite theology, to admit not, to accept not, to own my weeping and saturate the room with my fragrance. You unashamed one, come to unravel and disrupt everything that I am not. For you feast when I offer my true self, and you receive when I break what I've held.
Give it up for Jasmin. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. Peter Davies.
Lament, working it out, moving towards hope, and it's sort of part one and part two, so we can just keep rolling with it.
I've been trying to get to the bottom of it, but pain has a way of shape-shifting. I'm sat here this morning at the kitchen table, fighting words to write words that will convince me I'm able, but worried my resolve is a fable because I keep writing declarations of faith onto my page and reading them back as fiction when they fail. Now I'm asking, who taught me how to measure? And is it even my job?
Like I'm the father standing over the son every time the ball is dropped. Like I'm the son cowering away from the father. Like I'm the mediator between the two. Like I'm the man on the pedestal who gave up on you. Then go around the circle again. I'm every person sat at the 12-step meeting comparing the pain. It depends on the day. Because other times I'm the host showing the way. But am I the blind leading the blind? A man and a child, too old and too young, stuck in the bind. Holding thoughts in my head that I'm hoping my heart will find, working hard to reach the walls in my mind. See, we all see life through our ordinary corner. And novelty is only spectacular for so long before we remember heartbreak always tastes the same. Fear still knows how to whisper our name. We're all longing for something deeper than everything that comes quick and departs even quicker. Life is a mist. And I still find myself searching the corners of the mirror, hoping the reflection will offer something everlasting that will distract and swallow up all the pain that I'm masking. I keep asking, who am I behind it all? And why is it so hard to reach? Wondering if I'm looking for answers only faith can teach. There's a world beneath the surface, and perhaps we'll spend our lives pulling back the curtains. Perhaps that's why we're invited to follow, because love can't work through a batch when it's stationary. You discover truth as you move, so if I'm just tying up my shoes, when I look up, will you still be there waiting for me? Because if you're not careful, you'll stop noticing the way the light hits the water as the day breaks, or the way the morning swallows up the night as the world wakes. There is so much uncertainty, and it simmers somewhere below and spikes my heart rate. The waves crash against the rocks of my ribcage, and the crowds gather on the corners of my pillowcase. A grey fog falls around my footsteps as I walk, and the hecklers hurl cynicism from the back benches when I talk. Everything becomes a destination to be reached, a goal to be achieved, and time has its hand to our throat all the moments in between. We work so hard to make life work harder to stop working, but people keep arriving nowhere, wondering where the treasure is they were supposed to be unearthing. Come to me, he says, but we have a bad habit of thinking we know best, endlessly circling the place of rest. Every morning arrives and invites us to wake up, asks, are you still romanced by the gift of a life beyond love? Are you deeply content or conditionally content? Sometimes I imagine the little cartoon health bar hovering above my head, watching it get topped up by the last bit of money I spent. I heard someone say, longing makes the heart deep. And if there's a world in me, sometimes I feel I've ventured no further than the end of my street, desperate for beyond whatever beyond is. I didn't know evil could masquerade as safety as subtly as this. See, we're all set alight, so what will you burn for? How will your life bleed when your heart is torn? When was the last time you waited in the silence until your power was dismantled, until your fears brought you low enough to be cradled, until your longing burnt through you and spilled teardrops, or when you were hushed in the presence of the still point that it was as if your turning world stopped? Because I don't want to wake up to conditional peace and only discover it's gone in the absence of a feast. Isn't that what man has been attempting throughout all of history, trying to satisfy the infinite with the finite and discovering it finds its end in misery, making good things ultimate things and finding they are only a shadow? See, a puddle is made of the same stuff as the ocean, but it doesn't make it any less shallow. So who will be made a man in the morning, if not the one who asks for his daily bread? Who comes hungry again knowing he's got nothing left? Because how often I come bloated, hands wrapped around my life, unsettled by all I might lose, presented with your invite. So go on, I dare you. Say it all out loud, say it all out loud and watch your words fall apart. Go down the whole list, make sure to reach the end, because where the end is found, he starts. Some days we need reminding that refusing to stay down is akin to some days we need reminding that refusing to stay down is akin to summiting a mountain. A morsel of rebellion in the place that you're found in, that 1 foot forward is a step more than stationary. Perhaps even just lifting your eyes is a muscle seed of faith, you see. When the world screams louder and starts moving quicker, I will simply come to you and let grace do my bidding. Watch you walk towards me in the waves and turn my drowning into swimming.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Sophia Thakur.
Maybe something cinematic.
Whoa.
That's fast. Tell me, do you still have that breath in your lungs? That rhythm on your heart? Do you still have that song on your tongue or that pen in your palms? Do you still have that mind in you, that grind in you, that climb? Let me tell you what time can be. Actually, let me tell you about just the roots. About the tree season of waiting before that first shoot, where nobody had seen the flower. Nobody had acknowledged the tree, the foundations are set where nobody can see first comes the seed, but then it grows within you. Where there is no crowd, no crown, no congratulations. The mightier the tree, the deeper the foundation and the roots have to be. We ask ourselves so often, why are we still waiting? Instead of, what are we rooting? The people get to root for you, they will come. But the greatest tree had to be unseen for a while for it to become the one. So do not give up, my love, stay looking up. Stay tough if you need trust. Then come to where we load up. In God, hands on your lungs. If they still move up, then so we must. If even the dust will rise into life, how much more us who are already alive? So I ask you again, tell me, do you still have that breath in your lungs? Then you still have life to spend it on. Despite how we spent the night, has the morning ever even once denied us its same? Just as the morning has never skipped us, God has promised to never miss us, and that is the one thing He can't do. He can't break His promise. If He said it, then it's trusting that the author of time and timing can only be perfect. The wait can only be worth it, and I know. Sometimes it feels like the morning is crawling, like you're knocking on the doors of your calling and nobody cares. Well, nobody's there. Well, you're in these crowds feeling so alone in your fears. You're adding 1 + 1 and getting -2. You feel stuck in a relationship that is no good to you. You feel like you're running, going backwards, trying whilst retracting away from your bloom. But can I tell you how the spring works inside of you? How it's tension that makes the stem tear and the flower fly. How even the sun has to shatter for it to shine. You have survived. Haven't you?
Yeah.
Survived every day you thought you wouldn't. Survived every conversation you thought you couldn't. Survived every person who took from your persons and every person who took from your peace. God lights up paths and gives us knees to walk away and walk towards what we are called for.
Come on now.
And should you ever forget, you take your right hand, you put it on your chest left side, and you feel how even our heartbeat takes a pause. Even our heartbeat takes a pause for its pump, right? If you still have breath, then you still have time. Respect that you came with something great inside you. There is a light, there is a truth, and there is a way trying to find you. And should you forget, let me remind you to just breathe. Remember, breathe. Remember, breathe. Thank you. This is about if your words of affirmation girly like me. Yeah. The other love languages. It's also important to empower the words you say to yourself. The God of the universe left His spirit inside us, which means when He says, I am, what it means is we are. I am worthy. I am great. Though it's hard, I'll be okay. If there is breath, there is choice. In my mouth lives a voice. When it shakes, it is strong. When it breaks, I carry on. I am strong, I am wise, I am brave, I am bright, I am studied, I am read. In my mind, I invest. I can think, I can pause, take control of my thoughts. My mind is my throne. Take things in, let them go. I am host of my home. I choose what it holds. I starve what should go. What I water, it will grow. I choose how I live. I choose how I don't. I walk in the direction of the future that I want. I am strong, I am brave for this path that is paved. I have everything I need to succeed every day. I have God, I have light, I have love, I have might. I am growing in the light, so I am fine when it rains. I change through the night. I bloom as I sleep. There are verses I read and they say, do not let your hearts be troubled. And do not be afraid. Just give your worries and your cares up to the Lord. And trust me, we will be okay. Thank you.
Come on, Sophia, give one final applause. And this is birthday today, for the last 4 of the night. Make some noise for the moving joy.
This is a poem about the darkness, and I trust you implicitly. At this time of year, it is customary to talk with great intensity about the dark and the light. In England specifically, we like to ask, is it dark already? As in the sky is made of sick jokers. Some people go to work in the dark, return home in the dark. Some do not see daylight in these night days. So I set a reminder on my phone to take a hint of vitamin D, to step outside and breathe. I spy how the light strikes the tree and it delights me. Reminds me I can see, and I salute the sun and take a few clumsy pictures. The sun, what an antidote to those who in this season may be feeling SAD, sad. And seasons affect differently. Some experience November glum, some find they are December glad. Yet nonetheless, overplayed is this idea that light is good and dark is bad. But lest we forget how uncomfortable it can be when someone turns the lights on in the bedroom or the club. How impolite the brightness can feel. And how sometimes the dark of night is the only place we can find calm. And let us talk of sleep. Oh, to fall in her arms, back to bed, baptized in sheets, a place for all our unmet needs, to heal and grow and slow and be still and know. And lest we forget that stars glow best in the dark. And some things grow best in the dark, like the prayer plant or the parlour plant or the snake plant. The only living thing I've kept alive to this day in a basement flat. Did not complain, just needed a cool, shady place to hide away. And I've heard the gardener say we must be patient, that there is much happening underground. Just like the deep seas, where creatures have evolved towards all manners of seeing. All manners of seeing. And lest we forget that the void was dark, a place of peace where the Spirit hovered, creating. And lest we forget the womb was dark, a place of peace bearing burgeoning beginnings. And lest we forget the tomb was dark, a place of peace pointing to prophetic passion. And lest we forget the divine who dwells in the dark, in thick smoke and cloud, temples of mystery. And of course, we know scientifically that darkness is the absence of light, and theologically that the light has shone in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome. And we know sometimes we need to light a candle to chase our demons and nightmares away. But let us be careful not to demonize the dark. For too many have built their hate campaigns here, with weapons of words that tear at skin and sense of self. How convenient historically, for all that is good and right to be light and white. And how wonderful that another song has always existed on God's lips, that black is beautiful. So may we go to the dark places, to the obscuro, to the temples of mystery, to the holy of holy, the other of other, where the divine will grow. And may we find there a place of rest and peace and growth, remembering the void and the womb and the tomb and the truth that in all we cannot, do not know, we are in the same sense known. Yes, creatures of the light. But in the darkness, we can still find home. In the Holy of Holies, we can still find home. In the Holy of Holies, we can still find home. In the Holy of Holies, we can still find home. In the Holy of Holies, we can still find home. That reminds us that we are psalmists.
Come on, bro.
Present people, cultivators of catharsis. We are psalmists. Placed somewhere between the pastors and the artists, we are psalmists. Bar-like Spartans for the sake of the downhearted, we are psalmists. Just trying to find out where the healing balm is, we are psalmists. In the midst of chaos, still remain the calmest, we are psalmists. Till the end, and we're only getting started. We are psalmists till the end, and we're only getting started. Thank you!
So we're going to clear out overtime. Love you all. See you soon.